Hello, I'm Franey, the Director of International Programming for the festival, and we're delighted to have with us here for a conversation both the director of the film and the producer and co-star in the film. So we have Guro Bruusgaard, the director, and Mariken, Halle, the producer and co-star. Welcome. Sorry you couldn't be with us in Vancouver. Great, you can speak to us. Are you in Oslo now?
Yes, we are in Oslo, and we are, of course, very sorry that we can't be with you there. And yes, we are in Oslo.
Can I start by asking you how long it's been since the film had its world premiere, and what sort of release, which audiences might have seen it already? Particularly interested if it's already opened in Norway.
It had its world premiere in Tromsø International Film Festival, and then its international premiere in Moscow International Film Festival. Then it's been a little bit around in Europe, in Poland, different festivals, and then it had its national premiere in June in Norway.
So, in theaters?
In theaters, right.
So how has it been received?
It's been very well received by the critics. So we had mostly very nice reviews. It's been, of course, it's a film. I guess I made the film for making a kind of discussion after seeing the film. That was kind of the aim with making it. So I guess that's mostly what the when I'm there, because I have always also been traveling a lot with the film around in Norway, and that's like often the audience have a need for talking after seeing the film. Yeah.
Yes, we'll have to anticipate some of the questions a general audience will have in our discussion now. May I start by asking you whether this is a film that you conceived making because of a particular event or encounter in your life, or was it a sort of a general trend in society that you wanted to grapple with?
I think it was both. It was both that I, at the time, thinking about the project, I had a daughter and then I got a son. And in Norway at that time, it was like kind of a subject with the boys falling out from the school system, boys falling behind compared to girls. And this big report from the National Health Department came with a lot of focus on boys as more vulnerable in the school system. At the same time, it was not so many years since the massacre of the 22nd of July in Norway, which had this Brecht character behind this massacre. And I was interested in the kind of aggression behind these actions, which we see also all over the world. So I started researching a lot of these events, and with also the aim of understanding something, why this aggression and why mostly men. So that was kind of the starting point in a way. Mm.
Yes, it's 10 years, I believe, since that terrible case of someone taking their frustrations and ideas to such a terrible extreme of violence. We do, of course, I mean, perhaps less so in Canada than in the United States. We see so many stories of going postal, mostly men who reach some point of inexplicable rage. So it's very much on people's minds, I think, in the Western and developed world. But you deal with it more subtly. There's some hints. There's the ghost, I suppose, of men who've become violent. But there's a general sense of frustration or humiliation or the fear of embarrassment. And I know you've said at one point that in your research you were struck with the fear that, or the ultimate fear in a way, men have of being laughed at. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, actually, I think that is a saying from Margaret Atwood, that she said that in the 80s at some point. But I think it was like something like if you ask men and women what they fear most from the opposite sex, women ask that they fear the most to be murdered or raped, and men on the other side answer that they fear most from women to be laughed at. And for me, that kind of framed something important in this project, because of course it's what you say, the fear of being humiliated or laughed at is kind of general for all sexes, I guess. But this like deep-rooted fear of being laughed at, for me, that connects something to this aggression in one way, that is, yeah, but with because there are some men in our society, and I guess in Canada as well, but that have this great aggression against women and ethnics and LGBT minorities, and for me, I have this question: if it's all about that, part of it is about the fear of not being acknowledged or not being, and the fear of being outside. I mean, yeah, that's kind of some of the questions I think I asked with the film. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And being emasculated, I think, you know, there's the possibility that men, in some sort of primitive sense, are used to being the strong one and the ultimate decider and so on. And when they have to do a different dance and be more equal with other genders, other generations, other people from other cultures, it's not so easy for some people. What I was curious about in the way you've set the film up is that there's the combined problem of these two of the men in my memory having lied. You know, in the case of the younger boy, it's him pretending that he's written the text rather than plagiarizing it. And then, of course, in the case of the fender bender, he, you know, if he'd just been honest, he wouldn't have reached such depths of humiliation. So you wanted to combine these things just as almost something to get under the skin of the person for dramatic purposes.
In a way, it's an easy way to make a humiliating situation, but it's also, I also wanted to combine the emotional part with also something more comical, and that aspect is you know, it's something we like with the oldest person called Petter. I mean, the way he like kind of what you say, he tumbles into. I mean, it could be so easy to just say it how it is, you know, but he doesn't, and this. It's like it starts very small, but it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, And I mean, lying, it's so easy, but when you said it, you can't undo it. So it's.
I think the themes are clear enough. We don't need to exhaust them, because the film speaks better than words, and we see discomfort in a way that's very particular to cinema. I just want to compliment you on the film in terms of its discipline and subtlety with these elements. And particularly, I thought the musical score, which I understand is an original score, really helps add dimensions of sympathy, poignancy. We can see the inner wounded child in these men, even so they're at various ages. So can you maybe just tell us a bit about the crew, whether you are working with them? Seem to be very unified and organic, the filmmaking.
Yeah, I can, maybe you can talk a little bit about our company, but I can say about the music that's a composer called Eirik, which usually works with the theater. So he comes actually from another tradition than film. He comes from theater, but it was a very long project and a very long process working with the music. So he's been a part of the film from the script and from the. So he's been working with the music all the time in a way, and then in the end. But we have, like, the film is made by a production company called Alternative, which is made by 4 filmmakers. We are all directors, being producers also. So yeah, you can talk a little bit.
Yeah, so we, and one of our most important rules is that when we start a project, we will finish it. So the financing and the production has gone like, we've gotten some money and then filmed one part and then managed to get more money, and so it's kind of grown like that over 1 year, 1.5 years.
Yeah, at least.
Oh, at least. So it's been people who've been very, very dedicated to the project, and also the photographer Marte Voll and the whole team,
crew.
The whole film crew has been very, very devoted.
And actors as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's very low budget. The film is very low budget in Norwegian context. So yeah.
So we did the casting ourselves, and that was also like a fantastic thing to meet the actors. And one time we had gotten no from the Film Institute, and then we said, okay, we will cast it anyway. And then you have these actors coming into the room and just loving the script. So that gave a lot of energy. So it kind of, everyone has made it possible.
I thought the cast was really excellent and played their difficult parts, both clearly enough that the comedic aspect, as difficult it is, was understood, but also to make you squirm with some sympathy for the universality of their situations, however much they were to blame for them. So I wonder whether in the making of the film, it was a very set script before their involvement, or whether there was an aspect of improvisation or workshopping.
No, actually, it was a very set script. But of course, when I work with the script, it's a working tool. So of course you see what happens, and of course some things. In like the dinner, it's a dinner party in the film. Of course, there it's a kind of improvisation. Even though, I mean, the lines of Petter is very written, of course. So, but I guess I've written the script with a Swedish scriptwriter, Fiona Yunutsi, and I guess we wrote much of the film. first I did a lot of research and on the subject, and we found the characters, but then we wrote them very much out of ourselves as humiliated human beings, you know. So the aim is that everyone can recognize themselves in these three characters. Yeah.
Yeah, it works very well. What about the casting of the younger?
Yeah, that was actually that part we didn't do totally by ourselves. Then I got help from a casting director, and no, he was kind of obvious from the first time he was in, and he has this what do you say, nærvær, presence in the camera, but he had never done film before, so it was we had to work a lot with him, but he was like a natural talent, I would say.
Was he normally this serious as well? Does he have that slightly severe aspect to him as a person?
Yes, I would say that actually, but not in a more pleasant way, maybe, because there is something unpleasant with him in the film. But of course, it helped with working. Like the actor playing his mother is a very big Norwegian actress. So having her with all her experience helped a lot, you know. And she has a long career with working with lots of kids behind her.
Finally, a last question, just in general about this type of comedy of humiliation. There's many examples. Of course, there's many American films that are playing with similar territory, although they're not always as sociologically relevant to our times. You know, sometimes they explore very different things. But I think of Ruben Östlund's film, and this. Is it a? You feel it's a growing trend for filmmakers to explore this terrain?
I don't know. As you know, we actually went to the same school as Ruben Östlund, so we know him very well, and so we are kind of the same. And that's a very small school in Sweden. So maybe that, but also I think I watched a lot of. I think I am kind of inspired by, you know, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Seinfeld. I think it's very fun. Louis C.K., all of these American. But but I'm also very inspired by the more dark European, like Haneke, Dardenne, so it was like making a combination of this darkness with putting your laugh in your throat. I don't know what you say in English, but yeah. So what would you say about the Scandinavian scene in that way? Maybe.
I don't know, but I think it's kind of rare that films are really funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think we all get a chuckle many times in your film, at the same time as some dread about consequences and reasons for them. So just want to thank you so much again for making the film and for being here with us for this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you so much to the festival, and thank you and I'm so sorry that we can't be there. That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Hopefully in future.
Yeah, hopefully in the future.